There's no doubt that we're entering the most violent part of the crypto bull market. This first part of the bull market has been like a warm-up. The next part is the part that's going to be the vicious part. This is where we're going to get the massive returns. And in this next part of the crypto bull market, the narrative that is going to be powering us to the top is definitely going to be crypto gaming. It is going to be the narrative that gets the most users into crypto. So today what I want to do is I want to hook up with one of my friends, Ellio, who's a master. He sees around corners. He knows what narratives are coming. He knows what coins are going to pump, and he's got his finger on the pulse when it comes to crypto gaming. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at the crypto gaming narrative. We're going to look at how high it's going to pump in the bull market, and we're going to go through individual tokens. So today's going to be a big one. Let's do it. All right, we're back and we're live on our new channel. This is called In The Game. If you're not already subscribed to In The Game, this is where we bring you gaming alpha, and this is where you're going to make the millions in this crypto bull market. So subscribe now if you're not already subscribed. And also, just before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, just to remind you that our banters are brought to you by NordVPN. Now listen, I know it's not Friday anymore, but let me tell you something. If you sign up today, you still get the Black Friday specials, and you have to be using a VPN in crypto. I want you to hear this, and I want you to tell me whether or not this scares you at all. Okay, so just listen to this. This is a scene from the, listen to this. Hold on, let me get a better view for you guys so that you can actually see it. Just listen to this.
Send an unmistakable message to crypto and DeFi companies. If you serve U.S. customers, you must obey U.S. law.
She said crypto and DeFi companies, no matter what you're using, no matter whether you're using a crypto exchange or a DeFi protocol, the one fingerprint that you're actually leaving behind is you're leaving behind your IP address. So let me show you. It's so simple. If you are surfing, your computer knows exactly what your IP address is, and that IP address is linked to a country. And so that means that if the US authorities actually get the records, or your country's authorities actually get the records, like they got in the Binance case, your IP address is going to be tracked down, and you're going to be tracked down. Now, you can avoid this by getting a VPN, because what a VPN does is it hides your IP address. It hides your IP address, and when it does that, they don't know where you're surfing from, and that way they get completely lost. So listen, I know it's not Friday anymore, but you can still get the Black Friday specials, which means that you will land up paying something like $2.88 a month, and you'll get 4 months free. Listen, sign up today. There's a link below. I'm going to wait. I'm going to give you time to sign up. So as I said, I'm very, very, very excited to bring this show to you, not only because we are going to be here with a good friend, Ellio, and I know a lot of you guys wanted to chat to Ellio, but also because we are live on In The Game, which is Banter's effectively gaming channel. So we know that gaming is going to be a massive narrative in this bull market. And so we've actually broken up and given Hustle his own channel. We're going to build a whole lot of gaming content in this channel. If you want more In The Game type content, just go right now. There's a link below. Or in fact, you're probably watching it In The Game. Just subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. This is where all the gaming alpha is going to be brought to you for the entirety of this bull market. So go. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to give you guys a second to subscribe. Come on. I know you want to do it. Just do it. It's just one button and so much alpha. One button brings you so much alpha. All right, let's get into the alpha, friends. Let's get into the alpha of the day. Let's get the man of the moment on. Now, this guy's a legend. You know he's a legend. This guy sees around corners. He knows what's coming up next, and he's telling us that gaming is coming up next. But I've got a lot to talk about with him. So let's bring him on. Mr. Ellio, how are you, sir?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You look great, bro. You look good. You look relaxed. You look like it's a bull market.
Oh man, I've been so excited. I've been waiting for this. I know you've been waiting for this. So, and I have to say, you were I think the first one on YouTube to really go crazy mega bullish during this run. So nobody needs to. I mean, we should all take a second here and thank you, because if anyone aped at the bottom when you were screaming, they did well. You know, I think I was right after you, but I think that those early calls were really helpful and really instrumental. So.
You know, it doesn't matter, because I think we've only missed the first round of the bull market, or at least my feeling is that we're really in the first part of the bull market. And specifically, if I go to total 3, so I'm quickly going to get you a chart of total 3. This is total 3. And And I think if you look at this and you say, okay, total 3 is really just broken out of the first part of the cycle. And if we believe that we're going into a big altcoin run, you kind of want to believe that a higher high is going to be put in, right? That means that there's at least a 5 or 10x in total 3. So I think even if people did miss it, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world because there's a long way to go. So I think maybe let's dig into the cycle. I want to dig into where we are in the cycle. I want to dig into narratives that you think are going to run. I want to know if we're aligned on narratives. Obviously, I want to talk to you a lot about what you're doing. I actually went onto Twitter and I said, I'm interviewing Elio tomorrow. What should I ask him? And they gave me a whole lot of questions. So we've got, let me just read here, 1, 2, 3. Got about 136 questions. I promised them that we'd ask every single one of them. So that's what we'll do. Let's start off with where we are today. And where we are today, the way I see it is we are a couple of days after the Department of Justice basically eliminated one of the biggest hurdles in the way of the bull market, one of the biggest pieces of baggage from the last market, maybe one of the last ones. And it feels to me like if you looked 24 hours after this happened, the price of Bitcoin was actually back to where it was before Binance was charged. What do you make of this whole, what do you make of the whole thing? And what do you make of the fact that the market rebounded so quickly?
I mean, it's funny, right? You saw the memes that were like, everyone else in the world would look at this and go, this is horrible for the industry. Everyone in crypto went, wow, what a win. And so we all know that effectively Binance and CZ in particular lived on an island, and he was his own island. And for that reason, I actually said many times, I don't think they can kill this man. But apparently Larry Fink, the old Finkster, said, yeah, we can. And so they took him out and they did it in a way that protected Binance users. Binance users are okay, not the ones probably who didn't pay their taxes. So I don't know, they might be in trouble, but everyone else should be okay. Their funds are still there. And so from an industry perspective, you can see that now it's opened up the field. There's no big nuke. There's no big downside here. CZ is dealing with what he's going to deal with. I think a lot of people in the industry respect what he's done. I saw your tweet. I thought it was very apropos. But in the end, everyone who can see clearly goes, okay, now there's no overhang. There's no Binance overhang now, right? Binance has been tamed. It's bullish for Coinbase. It's bullish for the industry. And it's bullish for this ETF that we all think is now more likely to come in January.
What do you think? Do you think that he got what he deserved? Do you think he was made a scapegoat? I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think that he maliciously conducted criminal activity, and do you think he got fairly punished?
So I guess I don't know what his full punishment will be. I do think that, Binance did stuff that was very easy to object to. I don't know the full extent of it. I don't run Binance. I don't know what was going on behind the curtains, but I know that CZ also, in addition to this, did a lot to promote Bitcoin adoption and crypto adoption. I think that the industry is better off from CZ being there. I also think that, I don't really know what he did, and that if there's stuff that he did that there's some pretty hefty allegations there. And that, if he did, and if he was actively, knowingly participating in some of those things, then that's up to that system to deal with that. In the end, it's not something that I spend a lot of time focusing on. So I try not to be an expert in things I don't know too much about. So, I mean, the way I see it, it's like a game of chess. In a game of chess, to progress on the board, you have to sacrifice pieces. There's different pieces for different parts of the chessboard or different parts of the chess game. And as you progress in the game, you make calculated decision to sacrifice pieces who've done their job so that you can get to the point where ultimately you conquer what you need to conquer. And he was one of the most instrumental pieces, but ultimately we had to sacrifice him to get to the next phase. Let's go into the next phase. So I'm of the feeling that we've had a long Bitcoin run and now it's the time for altcoins. I've seen a lot of indicators that have shown me the same thing. So like I saw this tweet by TED Talks Macro says, the good news is that we haven't reached the altcoin craze of previous cycles yet, and that will inevitably return as investors become more comfortable with crypto again and move further out the risk curve. I saw a breakout of total 3, both of the trend line and the horizontal. I mean, I did a show earlier this week and I did 7 indicators, people coming back to YouTube. I mean, the YouTube influencers are back. The YouTube subscribers are back. The viewers are back. They're opening their wallets. They're looking for alpha. How do you feel? How are you reading the cycle? Where do you think we are? Yeah, so obviously, every cycle is different. And so the real question to me is, are we able to continue and hold above 32 for a while? And if we are, then the cycle feels like it's really on. I think that, my gut tells me that we're really brewing on some kind of God candle here. And that's what I've been betting on. But I'm always thinking about how can they mess with us? The market loves to mess with people. And you and I both correctly called throughout the most of 2023 that the pain trade was up, right? Because everyone had become max bearish. I became max bearish in 2022, and I needed to correct my mentality and understand that at a certain level, everyone had gotten off sides, right? And everyone was in the wrong boat. And as much as we were pretending like, no, this time's different, when you looked around the room, 9 out of 10 people were in stablecoins. And so you're like, okay, well, if 9 out of 10 people are in stablecoins and the market loves to punish us, then up is the way. The question is are most people still in stable coins? Do we need a little reset to get people maybe a little shaken up? I don't know the answers to that. I know that I'm excited, and I believe that 2024 is going to be really good. Whether we just explode from here or not, obviously that would be the exciting way to do it. I don't know what happens next. I know that I'm keep buying, I keep investing long term, and I know that there's certain niches that just make sense going forward. And we can talk about that, of course, as we get into the show. But one of the things that you talked about.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
One of the things that I think is the change is that people are going to, and this has always been my belief, is that altcoins become less alternative as time goes on, right? They become more established. I think 𝗀𝗶𝐿 had a nice thread where he essentially said, back in the day, it used to be that if you got a 10x on some altcoin, you never felt bad about selling it because almost never did it return to those highs and almost never made you it never punished you for selling. Then after Ethereum, it ushered in a new era where an altcoin actually became a legitimate asset. And now we see that there's actually a slew of altcoins that have legitimized themselves, the Chainlinks, the Solanas, the projects that are actually doing really, really well over time, and that you really do want to hold. And so you're seeing altcoins becoming less alt over time and more mainstream. And I think that the market is much more ready to bet on these earlier in the cycle, which is where I think each cycle is a little different. And I think that, it's always been my gut feeling that altcoins would creep earlier in the cycle and become better performers earlier as time goes on. And we're seeing that right now.
So that's the bullish case. And I think I agree with you. I'm in the camp of the bullish case. But I just want to, for 5 seconds, just focus on the bearish case. So we talk about max pain, and we talk about max pain being the way that the market goes to punish the majority of players in the market. Right now, everybody's betting that the ETF is going to get approved. There's less than 1% of crypto Twitter / crypto people that are saying, hold on a second, maybe the SEC just denies everyone and we go into another round. What happens if that unlikely event plays out? What do you think happens to Bitcoin and altcoins? Where do we go? Do we recover from that? Walk me through your thought process.
So I'm of the belief that news is never really the explainer of price action. And I think that we've all really hopped on this ETF news train as if it's explaining everything going on with Bitcoin and crypto. And I'm not a believer that it's actually the case. In fact, I tweeted this a few weeks ago, like, hey, look, guys, this is fun. And like, as YouTubers, we know this ETF thing is juicy. It's fun. It feels like we're getting legitimized. Feels like our Pinocchio moment. We're a real boy. And it's nice. But the reality is that there is demand for Bitcoin, I believe, at these levels. And I think it has a lot to do with, we saw the bank bailouts, right? That's still real. There's still tons of bad debt in the system. There's still a credit crisis kind of going on here that will require potentially bazooka cannons of money. There's a potential recession that might require bazooka cannons of money. There's a global instability. There's de-dollarization. There's all these things that are contributing to a Bitcoin narrative. And the ETF is great. And it makes it easier for people to allocate once the Bitcoin narrative kicks off. But in my opinion, it is not the only thing stimulating Bitcoin right now. And so I had a tweet where, Coinbureau put up a tweet and had a poll, and it said, what happens here? And it was only bearish outcomes. And I said, dude, this is not really a fair tweet. You should at least have one bullish outcome that people could vote on to say, hey, look, maybe it doesn't actually nuke the price. And so I believe that that's a possibility, right?
Okay,
I don't think that it's necessary.
Let me break it down. Let's break it down. If we get an ETF, chances are we get a spike, a God candle. Maybe it'll be short-lived, but we get a God candle. If we don't get an ETF, chances are we get a God candle down, a devil candle. Let's call it a devil candle. It's a red candle. If we go down, where do you think we go? If we go up, where do you think we go? Just, again, I'm not going to hold you. I'm not just give me a feel for where you see the parameters here.
So I think max pain for the bears would be a scoop under 20K, and then we get bid really hard, right? I don't think we go sustain. I think in the worst case, we don't get sustainably below 20K. I don't think that's even possible, but I do think there is, in the worst case, a world where we scoop under 20K and we deviate below it, and then we explode upwards. Everyone screams for zero. Everyone screams for whatever, capos of the world come out parading, and then we go much, much higher. That would be like the worst case scenario, in my opinion. I think that in reality, I think that there's a lot of people and smart people and investors that are excited for Bitcoin, that understand the Bitcoin ETF is part of a larger evolution of the space. And the ETF is really just a vehicle to enable more buyers, but it doesn't create more buyers, right? There's a bunch of new buyers that can easily allocate with one click after the ETF. But the reason why they'll allocate is because Bitcoin's doing Bitcoin things. And so, in my opinion, that will continue to be the case. I would actually put money on the more tame case of maybe a deviation below 30, but not too much further than that. I would think that we stay up in the 30s. I believe people missed it. If they really think we're going to get too much lower than 30, I believe they missed it. Who knows? I could be wrong. That's my opinion. I don't trade my opinion. I just have a system where I buy in when there's big washouts.
All right, so let's get into the bullish case. The bullish case is we're bullish. We're going to an altcoin cycle. This is a new altcoin cycle. It's not the same altcoin cycle as the last one. Every altcoin cycle is different. In this altcoin cycle, we're going to get a whole lot of narratives that played out. They're not going to be the same narratives that played out the last time. I think the best thing about trading altcoins or investing in altcoins is you have to know what's going to run, and then you have to get out of your bags at the top, no matter how much you believe in the cycle. That's the one thing that I learned. So no matter how much we believe in crypto gaming, you ride the cycle to the top. And even if you think that your coin's going to be the best coin in the world, you get out at the top and you carry on and you live to fight another day. So with that in mind, let's talk about some narratives. I want to ask you about some narratives first, because I know that gaming's a big love of yours, and I think we'll leave that one to the end. But let's talk about SOL versus ETH. So how do you feel about a SOL versus ETH cycle? If you had to go to the casino and you had to put your money on red or black, is it a SOL cycle or is it an ETH cycle?
You know me, I'm spit. There's actually a company in LA called SoulCycle where it's like an exercise class, and they're a little cultish too. But I mean, in the end, I think that we're very much in the SoulCycle. And I said that, you were saying that pretty early. Most of my buys on Solana, and I was saying this pretty early on. One of the things that I've learned from last cycle is the hated rally. I didn't understand this before because it doesn't make sense. You're like, oh, everyone hates this coin. Everyone thinks it's bad, should perform badly, but they go up, and they go up actually in this disgusting and brutal way. And it's hard to really explain why. But instead of explaining it, I just go ahead and I separate my emotions. Why am I here to judge if a project's like the best or the worst? I'm just here to allocate to the things that I think will go up. And quite frankly, Sol has all the fixins. It's got the community, it's got the technology, it has the chart that it wants to revisit, and it has the hated rally. And so I think that the sort of SBF connotation gives it the perfect spice of hated rally. And I've been saying this since the bottom, that's my major pick for extreme upside that is still like relatively safe. I know you came out with that video calling it a safer coin. And yeah, I mean, that's been the best major play that we've had. So without a doubt, buying it up in the teens and low 20s was the best sort of major play that I've had this cycle, in addition to Coinbase stock. So really wonderful. I'm excited for Sol.
Yeah, look, I went to their Sol breakpoint. Obviously, I've been a long-term holder of Solana, and I've been scooping it up the whole bear market and even before. And the one thing that I realized is that eventually this game has to be about technology. And ETH doesn't have the tech. ETH is a great settlement layer. It has great network effects. But from a technological point of view, it's just not as good. It's slow. It's expensive. Then you could come up with the argument that there's layer 2s. Fantastic. Problem is Arbitrum doesn't talk to Optimism. Optimism doesn't talk to Polygon. Polygon doesn't talk to ZK. So it's just really separate pieces of technology. So when people say to me, yeah, we're building on ETH, but we're building on layer 2. No, you're not. You're building on Arbitrum or Optimism, whatever the layer 2 is. Solana, you're building on the main chain. All the dApps can talk to each other and interact with each other. It just makes so much more sense. My bet is that in 10 years, Solana is bigger than ETH. I may be completely wrong. I have chips on both. But I think in such an early part of the cycle, the best technology wins. I don't think we're at a point now where there's so much network effect that the best technology can't win. And so I've taken a much bigger bet on Sol than I've taken on ETH. As I said, I do want to get to gaming, but before gaming, other narratives that you think are hot in this cycle, other than gaming. Well, and we'll spend the majority of the show on gaming and metaverse, because remember, guys, we are here on In the Game, and this is where we bring you guys all the Crypto Banter gaming content with everything that's in it. So we promise we will get to gaming, but I just want to dig into this man's mind and see what other narratives he's looking at. Sarah, talk me through it. What else?
Yeah, just the final note on Solana. I mean, last cycle, the play was to sell everything into ETH as your winners ran. And you know, like you said, you got to take profits. That is just the reality, is that you just don't know until proven otherwise. Until we get the super cycle, we should be taking profits. And in my opinion, the thing to do until you see the blow off top is to take profits into either, you know, a major coin that's going to continue to grow, because then you can multiply your profits gradually. Last cycle, the play was to sell everything into ETH. This cycle, I think the play is to sell things into Sol. So, you know, if you feel like you missed out on Sol and you want to look for higher beta, you want to look for stuff that's going to run harder, well, then play those coins. But my particular plan is to sell those profits into Solana and sort of ride that until it's that's my last note on Solana.
Funny enough,
as far as other narratives,
we ran a show this week, and I said one of the biggest tricks is no matter how much you think an ecosystem and all the underlying coins work, the underlying coins very rarely survive and go higher than they were. Like, no matter how good the ETH coins are, they're never going to get to the all-time highs. But ETH will easily get to its all-time high. So the idea is play the casino, but take your profits into the mother coin. That way you're selling, you're taking profits, but you're not actually exiting. And that, for me, is you're always keeping your finger on the pulse. You're always keeping some skin in the game. All right, other narratives. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so the other narratives obviously are there are three simple ones, and just to really simplify, there's actually four, but I'm going to focus on these three. The three are smart contracts platforms; those are like the majors, and then we have gaming and AI. Those are the three. I mean, you could focus on a lot of them. The fourth would be meme coins, which I do think are going to play a role here, but they're just way more difficult to predict. So the first three is where I think people should put their focus. So obviously smart contracts platforms are the biggest. They achieve the highest valuations. They also, you're most likely going to get them at a higher price. And, you know, you had the Soluna AVAX was the last three that really crushed the market. And there's quite a bit of muscle memory in the charts right now. As you see AVAX chasing Solana and AVAX pretty much were down the exact same percents for most of the bear market. So you can see that they play very similarly on the charts. And then, you know, I saw somebody tweeting like sell Luna AVAX, as in like Celestia is maybe the new one. Who knows what the new third sort of horseman is there of the majors. Obviously, Chainlink is one that I think everyone should have on their radar. You have like Injective has just been an absolute killer. 𝗏𝗏𝗏, you've been talking about that one. There's a bunch of great projects in that smart contracts narrative. I think that those are good narratives. I think you're looking at sort of 10 to 20 Xers in that narrative. And then if you want to get sort of higher beta to that, the sort of run it up hot on extreme gainers, you're going to want to be in gaming and AI. And I think that those are going to be the two narratives that do have this kind of plutonium explosive growth. And that's where I'm looking at sort of my highest risk rewards, but I'm also having my smallest position sizes per project typically.
What do you think? Do you think that this whole open AI saga with the concern of why Sam Altman was fired and how the AI is now very much in control of Microsoft and the big corporations, and I mean, there are big dangers in AI. Elon seems like he's almost panicking about the fact that AI is not decentralized. Do you think that plays into a crypto narrative, or do you think that is the crypto bros' excuse to pump the AI narrative?
I guess I'll ask you, does it matter, you know, whether one thing or the other is the reason? What we're seeing is that what crypto is all about is attention and momentum. And when you look at, and that's why it wins as an asset class, because it will create so much attention with small amounts of momentum that create large amounts of momentum. It is the most momentum driven asset class in the world. And it's done this several times and it'll do it many more times. But that's why it's going to take over, is that AI coins are going to have so many reasons to capture attention over and over again. Why? Because AI continually is evolving so fast and creating news at such a scale that it's hard to ignore. And so whether or not, you know, Bitensor or whatever one of these projects in the AI sector ends up being, you know, the end all be all of decentralized networks, it's definitely going to captivate attention repeatedly. And that sector is always going to make noise over and over again. You can't plan exactly when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And that's why you have to have your eyes on the AI charts. We saw what happened when ChatGPT launched. All the AI coins went crazy. And then we didn't get a lot of AI news for a while. Then we got this saga, and all of a sudden the AI coins are explosive. And so whether or not it's indicative of overall long-term, tech taking over, or whether or not it's short-term sort of momentum plays, the charts show very clearly that AI will continue to rear its head as something to pay attention to.
You mentioned BitTenza. Your thoughts on BitTenza, just as a matter of interest?
Man, I don't understand it, but it looks sexy, right? They present themselves as like a Bitcoin of AI. The white paper's formatted like Bitcoin, like it's very authoritative. The thing ripped to like $1 bazillion. I'm honestly not in it properly because it just kept ripping so hard. I can't buy that chart. It was too up only. I didn't ape it fast enough, but I mean, it looks good. It looks like it wants to be that. It's definitely the front runner right now in AI, and so yeah, the chart looks good. It's probably gonna rip.
Let's go into the order of the day. This is, I guess, the order of the day. Remember this, crypto gaming is mainstream normie narrative. It's 10,000 times easier to understand than your favorite layer 3 ZK whatever. And best of all, normies are not here yet. Crypto gaming has not even begun its warpath. Alex Becker had a similar tweet. He said, if you look at the market cap of all crypto gaming, it's 13 billion. If you look at the market cap of Doge during the bull run, it was 70 billion. One meme coin, just for reference, how little money is actually invested in it. So, I mean, it is the beginning. Again, it's the beginning of the crypto gaming cycle, I guess, right? Walk me through where we're at and walk me through where we're going.
Yeah, so the thesis on gaming is very simple. There is no consumer category that makes as much sense because gamers already trade digital stuff. They trade digital stuff not because they're looking for profits, but because they enjoy it, right? And there's no other use case that's like that. People actually want to wear the digital stuff. They use it. And so find me another industry that's doing $200 billion in digital stuff that's uniquely, for its intrinsic value. So with that, we all know that. And that's the thing is, people understand that crypto gaming makes sense. But the problem is they get frustrated because they haven't seen it explode. They haven't seen the hit game yet. And then you get to the reality that gaming is a hits-driven business and that people do enjoy using the digital stuff, but they enjoy it because they are already interested in that digital world and they enjoy the digital world that the digital stuff is a part of. It's not just that they like digital clothing. It's that they enjoy Fortnite or they enjoy their favorite game. And
I agree. But is there a crypto game that's fun to play? Like I must say, like I agree with everything that you're saying, and I agree that crypto gamers are completely obsessed with goodies and collecting goodies, and they've been doing it long before skins and good in-game items were an industry long before crypto ever existed. But I haven't seen any crypto games that are fun to play. Like honestly, Axie Infinity, which you could argue was probably the most used game in crypto, it's a terrible game to play. Sorry. I mean, I know some people in the Philippines made a lot of money playing it, but it's not a fun game to play. I don't know. I mean, unless I'm seeing it wrong.
No, I mean, I think that that's the opinion. Everyone has that opinion, right? It's like, where are the fun games? And this is the thing, right? You had the most investment of any sector coming into gaming. Games take, 2 to 4 years. The good games take about 2 to 4 years to build. So you have all this investment coming in at the end of 2021, right? Axie exploded in July. People weren't sure if it was a real thing. So Q3, Q4 is when these pitch decks started getting together for crypto games. So now we're about 2 years after, and you're starting to see things come to market slowly or present themselves. And over the next sort of 18, 24 months, you're going to start seeing not just one, but dozens and dozens of games hit the market. And do we know if those will be true hits, right? It's a hits-driven business. We don't. But the amount of at-bats that this industry is going to have is tremendous. And so the question is not if, it's when. And when that happens, I think that it's going to spark a change in sort of online culture. There's a lot of stigma against NFTs because of what people perceive as low quality associated with those NFTs in the games. That'll change. And it's just a matter of letting these devs get their hard. Like I've seen so many games teams and they work, in my opinion, harder than most teams in the industry because it's so hard to create a high quality game. And on top of it, they need to build protocol level technology to make it palatable for the gamers. In my opinion, spinning up a DeFi protocol, I've seen really good teams spin these up in a couple of months, sometimes weeks, sometimes, a year. But you're talking about games teams working for 2 to 4 years on this stuff. So these people are in deep and they're really true believers. And so it's not a question to me of if it'll happen. It's a question of when it happens. And once it happens,
When?
you're going to have a flood. You're going to have
When?
like an absolute avalanche.
When? This year? Next year? When do you think we'll see a crypto game that is actually successful, gets real world adoption, not just people trading it because Philippines want to make a minimum wage or more than a minimum wage playing on computers?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that is the big question, and the response is that I'll be there when it happens. I'll be there when it happens, and I've not given up on this since 2018. I've been saying this. I'm so focused on this, and I expected it to happen a little sooner. But talking with Robbie at 𝗍𝗶𝐷, there are so many games coming to market right now, and so the question is really just who's going to crack the code and build that mainstream following. And I'm excited to see who does it. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of hardworking teams out there. In my opinion, saying exactly when it is foolish, right? We might be 24, might be 25, but I think this cycle we'll see a game with millions of active users in it, and that's going to change the stigma. So
when you look at the gaming sector, the gaming narrative, talk me through some of the best projects that you think are in the gaming thing. I'm actually going to call up the gaming sector on CoinGecko just so we can follow the tokens, but just give me walk me through, and I mean, I'm not asking you to put your finger. I know you've made some really good calls on your channel. You can talk about those, but give me some ideas of right now what you think are the smartest plays for someone who's watching this and says, you know what, I like what Ellio is saying. I want to get into gaming. I'm not an expert. Tell me where I should go and what I should do.
So that's exactly the question that I saw as kind of like a big issue, because we have these conversations for years now, and by within a couple of minutes, everyone goes, "We get it, Elliot. We get it. Like crypto gaming's the future. Now what?" And so everyone says, "Okay, we get it. We want to root for this. We want to allocate to this. What do we do next?" And then there's a really long discussion to be had because it becomes quite complex. And then when you start really identifying the fact that it is hits driven, you start needing to break things down into sectors. In my opinion, the simple way to do this, the sort of risk adjusted way to do this, is to bet on infrastructure and to bet on things that really appeal to more than one game, right? And so you're talking about infrastructure where they actually host games on it, on the chains like Immutable X, those types of projects that effectively are infrastructure. Obviously on a video I did a few weeks ago, we broke those down.
Some of the viewers that don't know what Immutable X is, just walk us through exactly what it is.
So Immutable X is building sort of easy ways for mainstream games to come onto the blockchain. They're a layer 2 scaling solution on Ethereum. And now they've partnered up with Polygon and created what I think is actually a really cool technology, which is this ZK-EVM app chain world, where they effectively allow game developers to launch their own chains and to have some coordination between these chains. It really allows game developers to focus on being game developers and not crypto developers, and get access to this world of high throughput sort of Ethereum-backed blockchain tech, which is what everybody wants to be on, at least for now. And
okay, so that's Immutable X. It's got a fully diluted valuation of $2.8 billion. It has had an amazing run. I'll quickly just go through the last 90 days. It's been gone up from 50 cents. It's now trading at $1.45. Too late, she cried, or are we still in the game?
I think Immutable X is kind of one of those tokens that you'll see be kind of like a weather truck, like a weather report on the entire gaming space. It's one of the easiest ways to allocate to the space because they have so many games that they're working with and bringing to market. It's like a diversified bet. It's not 100% diversified because they don't work with every game, but it is a diversified bet to say, hey, look, if gaming gets hot, this will get hot. Easy.
Let's go.
And that's why it'll probably keep going if gaming keeps going.
Let's keep going. What else? Where else would you allocate? So you're saying, look, if you want the infrastructure plays, Immutable's one of the infrastructure plays. Any other infrastructure plays? Like one of the plays that people have spoken about is going to invest in Avalanche because Avalanche has got the subnets, and the subnets are a good play for gaming. Thoughts?
Avalanche is definitely going to be a hotbed for gaming. We're seeing, obviously, that's kind of like saying invest in Solana, invest in Ethereum if you like gaming, because these will be the tokens of the metaverse. I think it's a little indirect. I think these will do well, but I think it is indirect. If you want a more direct way to invest in crypto gaming, you want to look at game studios, you want to look at infrastructure. And so looking at infrastructure and looking at game studios, you have Immutables up there. I went over sort of 4 infrastructure plays on my channel. Ronin is an infrastructure play. You have Ready Games, which is coming to market soon. I'm an investor in that. They're actually helping. They're coming to the Neo Tokyo Launchpad, and so launching in partnership with that citizen-led project, really cool stuff. So Ready Games is not yet on the market, but they have some really cool technology. They help developers come to market with way less friction, really cool technology. And then we have GALA Games, and GALA Games is a publisher, right? So they have a bunch of games. Those are sort of like the 4, publisher plays that I went over that allow you to get a diversified bet on the ecosystem. And the lowest valuation one of those would be Ready Games, who are not yet at this big valuation. And so those are I've invested in all those. I have coins in all those, just to be very clear. But those are kind of the simple ways to allocate, where if gaming gets hot, those will probably grow. They won't be your biggest gainers in the world, right? These aren't going to do 100x, but they will do well with gaming. And that's how you simply allocate from an infrastructure level.
All right, let's talk about, if you want to go a bit more degen than the top level, where do you go? Where do you go down?
So in the end, finding the game that's a hit will be the ultimate winner, right? Because once you have the users, you decide your fate, right? If you have the users, you create all the rules. Everyone is trying to do this, which is find the Web 2 game that, or the game that converts Web 2 users to Web 3 users. That is the holy grail. And so whether you're on Immutable or you're on this, you're on that, the gamers don't care. They want to play the game. And so if you get them into the game and they love it, then you can say, oh, well, we'll make our own chain, we'll make our own this, we'll make our own that. And so the infrastructure then becomes kind of, it's not going to be necessarily the one who holds the keys to the destiny. It's the game. And so that game could end up building an economy of scale bigger than like all of crypto itself. Who knows? Fortnite had hundreds of millions of players at one point, and that's way bigger than all of crypto right now. So
right now, are there any games or gaming studios that you're looking at and saying, these guys could actually have a chance to pull it off?
Yeah, so there's several game studios that are doing well. And obviously the first one that's going to come to market right now is 𝗨𝗹𝗻. It's screaming at you. It's right at the top of the chart there. They have a huge. So I want to preface this by saying I am in the camp of believing we need to be rooting for all these games. Why? Because once one game succeeds, it sort of blazes a trail for everyone to follow in that path. And it allows for all of these games to end up having a higher chance of success. So once millions of people are playing and enjoying NFT games or crypto games, all the rest of the games in the industry have a higher likelihood of succeeding. Oh, I forgot to say Merit Circle and Beam is the other infrastructure play. I forgot to add them. I'm a holder of them. Very excited about what they're doing. Okay. So from the game studio, you have 𝗨𝗹𝗻. The one that's also exploding with interest and excitement is Prime. So that's Parallel's game. They are probably the most crypto native sort of play because they're very, very on-chain driven with their transactions. And it's a card game. It's a turn-based card game. They also have other stuff they're building. So Prime is another one. I also shouted out on my channel. There's so many, so I don't want to make it sound like this is an exhaustive list.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an exhaustive list, but I'm just trying to get, I'm not as in touch with the gaming narrative as you are. So very interested to hear your thoughts and your thought process. I must say, I'm loving this. I'm sure the guys in the audience are loving this. By the way, if you are in the audience, just let us know. Let us know in the comments what you want us to look at. So what else, Elio? So which other games do you think are good? Let me ask you a question about a game. Star Atlas. That was like so cited to be like the biggest game, and so they lost a lot of their treasury on FTX. They seem to be recovering. I was of the opinion that this game would never launch because it was just too ambitious. I think when a project's too ambitious, I just think it'll never launch. What do you think?
I'm not an expert on Star Atlas, but like I said, I'm rooting for them. And all these games that have been spending years developing, especially one like Star Atlas, which had all these plans, development roadmap, and then ended up losing all this treasury on FTX. Like, you got to feel for these guys. And so you got to say, okay, like, I feel for them. Does that mean that, obviously FTX claims are now trading at 70, 80 cents. So will they get some of this money back eventually? When? Who knows? But in the end, I'm rooting for these people to succeed. And so one of the things that I'm really focused on, and by the way, I also am a bit biased. I co-founded a project called SuperVerse. We have a game studio. We're going to
talk about
a game called Imposters. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But obviously, one of the things that I'm really excited about is creating a community that is trying to actively push all these games forward and not so focused on what I've seen over the last 2 years, which is a lot of tribalism and a lot of people just being so cynical about the possibilities of Web3 gaming. Whereas I'm just sort of filled with optimism about it. So that's my perspective, is I believe that I want to support all these games that are ambitiously putting their best efforts forward, even if the game isn't my style, or even if what they're trying to do seems almost too hard to accomplish.
I hear you. Give me some other games that you are supporting. And I know you're supporting all the games, but give me some other ones that you'd be buying for example, or what that you are an investor in? I think let's make it even easier.
So I'm an investor in dozens of games. And so there's a lot here that I could go on and on about. In the end, I believe that, in this market, gaming will get hot because it's so easy to understand. It's so relatable. And the vast majority of people that are coming to this market really do not care about the technicals. In fact, they get frustrated when you get too technical because it makes them feel dumb. It makes them feel excluded. And I also think like a lot of the people even here in crypto land don't care that much about the technicals. And they're the ones who are the hardest core believers. And so one of the reasons why gaming will continue to be a trending topic is because it's so easy to understand and enjoy. And so I could go on.
Let me give you some because they're coming here from the comments and from whatever else. So Prime, you said Prime is a winner in your opinion.
Prime has already shown itself to be successful in a lot of ways, and I think that they are a really good model. I'm excited to see what they do. I wouldn't be shocked to see them continue to win. Whether or not they end up becoming a mega mainstream gaming card game success, we'll find out. But it seems like they've been crushing it up to this point. They've definitely been crushing it.
I mean, they had an amazing run. Look at that run. I mean, that's ridiculous. Let us look at another one. So, what do you think of 𝗨H𝗽𝗍𝗍, the launchpad? I mean, do you think it's wise to put money into a launchpad? I mean, last bull market, we all put money into launchpads and we landed up making a lot of money. Do you think investing in a launchpad now is a good play?
Oh, so on my video that I did, I said there's only one category that I'm 100% allocated to. And every other category, I have some cash on the side, a good chunk to keep allocating to the category as we develop in the market, or if we get dips. To me, the gaming launchpad concept was completely bottomed out. You can't get more dead than we were on the gaming launchpad narrative. And so I just said, look, I just want to get to their top tiers. That was my personal goal. So 𝗨H𝗽𝗍𝗍 and NeoTokyo were the two launchpads. Obviously, I'm a co-founder of NeoTokyo, so it's not the same. But in the end, I said, look, I'm fully allocated to 𝗨H𝗽𝗍𝗍 because I just think, look, when the market comes back, whenever that might be, this thing is going to have it's going to be harder to get into these things because they'll be able to have that launchpad excitement. And so this one, I think I was talking about 50 cents or 60 cents, and that was not too long ago. So that one has absolutely cooked.
All right, Vulcan Forged, PYR. That's another one that keeps coming up. Yes or no?
So PYR, they have a bunch of games. They have their own blockchain they just launched. They seem like they're a hardworking team. Again, it's a hits-driven business. Do I know if they're going to have a hit? No, but they seem like they really are cranking hard, and I want to support them on their mission. So I hope they do. I hope they do create a hit.
All right, let's go with the next one. Illuvium. Oh, we're done.
Yeah, so Illuvium is one of the most expensive ones, but we should really all be rooting for Illuvium. This is going to be a high-profile launch, and we should just be crossing our fingers and toes that they're able to attract players. And I want to be on team supporting them. Whether or not the turn-based or the auto battler type of style game is your favorite, it's a deep strategy game. I haven't played that game very much, but I'm rooting for them because they will have a chance to impress people, and it's a beautiful game. There's no denying that. All
right, Nakamoto Games had an amazing run. I mean, this thing came back from the dead, and I mean, look at this. Just look at this chart. From 25 cents, it's now trading at 135. So I mean, this thing's done amazingly well.
Yeah, so Naka has a bunch of games, and I think that that's a model that people really resonate with. A lot of on-chain stuff as well, and they just have really good. They're cranking, they're working hard. Again, this is exactly what you want to see: is a chart that's completely dead, community that's completely dead, and the founders and the team don't accept that. They just keep pushing, and that's what you're seeing in a lot of gaming projects, where there's a belief that you always need to find the new shiny thing. And I believe that gaming bucks that trend because you cannot create a sustainable long-term gaming ecosystem in one shot. It's not like a DeFi protocol that just gets all the TVL, and it becomes this behemoth. These games teams that have been cranking through the bear market, I think that they will see tremendous upside. And I believe that that's one of the big things that I think is a little different about gaming. And Naka embodies that. They just refuse to die, and look at them, they're thriving, and I love to see it.
One more before we get on to Super, Elio, and NeoTokyo. ApeCoin, and the reason why I'm asking is that this is it's a project that's linked to an NFT. It's got a crazy community, or has it still got a crazy community? They are delving into gaming. This was cited to be like the Disney of games and metaverse and NFT. What's your feeling now? This is aged for like 2 years or 3 years or whatever the number is. What's your feeling about how this wine is aged?
Yeah, so I was very lucky to get early and get into the apes early. In fact, Bored Apes are the thing that changed my mind about whether NFTs could actually be viable without having full utility. And that was an amazing run. And when ApeCoin finally came, I was holding so many Yuga assets that I gladly took the stimulus and I said, "Thank you so much, ApeCoin Foundation," and I sold that. And so seeing it eventually drop down was not a surprise. And to me, it's a question of who's going to get the users. Now, Other Side is being run by some of the bigger executives, like their team with the CTO, I believe, of Epic Games, or some really high up folks at Epic Games, the COO, the former COO of Activision Blizzard. They have the team there. And so the question is, will they be able to create a game with the users? And that's really the question. If they are able to do that, this chart will most likely start to turn upwards like the rest of them.
Would you put your money on the fact that they will right now?
It's hard to say, but in my opinion, if this market goes the way I'm hoping it goes, God candle upwards, etc., lots of excitement, I think Ape is going to be able to show the quality in their output of whatever they're building that's going to get people excited, even if they're not going to end up creating this mega multiverse that they want to build. I think that it'll perform well with the entire market. All
right, let's shift the discussion to Ellio and what Ellio is building, and then I've got a lot of questions for you because, as I said, I asked the viewers. I said, here it is. I'll show you. I asked them. I said, I'm recording with Ellio tomorrow, and there's 135 questions we have to get through. So I'm going to go through them very quickly. First of all, you seem very excited about some surprises that you're going to drop. Maybe just we won't tell anyone. We're all family here. We're not, whatever you'd say here stays here. No one's going to share it with anyone. You know that. When you tell me something, it's just me and you.
I appreciate that.
So tell me what's happening.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've constantly done is try to understand where I can be the best help to the industry, where I can be the best help to the pain points of the entire movement. And as my first and primary focus is on the projects that I've created, and those being SuperVerse, which includes Imposters as the game, and NeoTokyo. And so one of the things that I've been trying to focus on is just how can these projects be the ultimate sort of help, not just to our own holders, our own community, but to how can we be of service to the movement at large? And that's something that has been my mentality from the beginning, is how can I use my channel and use my use my work product to be of service to this industry. And that's always my sort of primary lens. Now with NeoTokyo, obviously people have been seeing what's been going on. The vision has been really simple from day one. We wanted to create this group of holders that were exclusively focused on building the metaverse, exclusively focused on it. And this is from an idea I came to Alex Becker with back in 2021, where I said, hey, look, this metaverse thing is exploding so fast. No one can keep track of it. There's not one person that can have their arms wrapped around this whole thing, playing all the games, experiencing all of them. We need a village. And we set out to create that village, and it's called NeoTokyo. And one of the things you'll see is that it was one of the only projects that ended up flipping Bored Apes in floor price back in 2021. It's a smaller supply, so it's not like a true flip, right? But in the end, it really showed that there was a passion for this. And even throughout the bear, that community's been extremely passionate and extremely focused. And now you're seeing that crypto gaming is getting a little bit more shine, a little bit more heat. The narrative or the focus of that community has taken the spotlight again, because everyone wants to be a part of this club. And so that is serving the industry by creating a place for builders and founders to get together and to effectively network and find resources to invest in things. It's essentially like a Soho house.
I see a lot of people have actually joined it. I mean, I saw this tweet: the Web3 gaming industry will be worth trillions. Becker and Ellio created NeoTokyo, the place to find 100x gaming coins. We found 17 projects that recently joined NeoTokyo, and they list PYR, S-Fund, Sidus, Naka, Bull, Shrap, so Altura. Just so, I mean, is it that this project is getting a lot more momentum now? Is that what's going on here? Is that why all of a sudden this is happening, or has this been happening all along?
So there's definitely been little bits all along, but one of the things that Becker and I agree on is that when you stay focused, and you understand that timing is obviously the most important ingredient in most ventures, we knew that by essentially building this arc for founders and builders, and sort of creating this community that people would get value out of, that when the time was right, people would line up to get in, and it, sort of slowly, then all at once, as they say. And so what you're seeing right now is the product of years of sticking to a very specific vision. And you see a lot of negativity in the NFT space. And in my opinion, that negativity comes from a lot of projects having unclear visions, right? And they don't have a clear reason why this JPEG is worth holding. And from the very beginning, we had a very clear vision as to why you would be a part or why you would want to hold a NeoTokyo citizen. And that's what's created this incredible community. And that's one of the reasons why it's been so enduring. And when the market started to get exciting again, that reason became the center focus. And so, yeah, slowly, like we saw a lot of founders join, but then all at once, everybody wanted to be a part of it. And then it got quite hard to get in.
What is NeoTokyo bytes? What is the bytes? What is this chart? I see it's gone parabolic. What are bytes? Why should I own bytes? Why is it going crazy?
So bytes are effectively the internal sort of mechanism that citizens use for various projects, and they allow for citizens to get access to different citizen opportunities. In this case, one of the most obvious ones is, and by the way, as founders, Alex, Becker, and I are not creating all of these aspects of the project. And that's been the spirit of NeoTokyo, is we wanted the builders to come in and everyone contribute. And so one of the things that citizens have contributed is a launchpad. And this is not a project that Alex, Becker, and I have built. It's not an entity that we own or that we actually have any official relationship to. This is a citizen created project that will allow for people to get into. It's like a launchpad, competitive in some ways with 𝗨8, but there's totally different deal flow. And so that's one use for bytes, is that the more bytes you have, the more allocation you can sort of get access to in this deal flow. Bytes are actually yielded, or you can stake your citizens, and it will emit different levels of bytes depending on the status of your citizen. And then there's also what we call incentivized build, where bytes are effectively designed in a very gamified way to get people to build stuff for NeoTokyo. It's this internal sort of mechanism that runs what we call the Citadel, which is this NeoTokyo community that allows for people to incentivize different behaviors. And this is the way that we believe NeoTokyo is also tremendously different, is that it's not just one founder or one group saying, here's what's next all the time. It's a whole village, a whole army of thousands of one of, I believe, the smartest and some of the most aggressive long-term believers in the space contributing. And that's what makes NeoTokyo special. And people, I think, are right now seeing bytes as a more accessible way to sort of be a part of the NeoTokyo thing, because the citizens have become rapidly too expensive, I think, for a lot of people to get their hands on.
What does a citizen cost?
Last time I checked, they were trading between 18 and 22 ETH for the S1 citizen. And the outer citizen, which is the more accessible citizen, not quite as many privileges as the S1, that was 2 to 3 ETH.
All right, look, we are running out of time, so let's go into Super and SuperVerse. It's had a fantastic run. So walk me through what's happening here. What is SuperVerse about now? I know you guys had the marketplace. You guys decided to exit the marketplace, which I think was a very smart strategy in an industry.
Well, no, I mean, so what we're doing right now with Super, and what is something that I've been excited to do, is right now Super has one mission, but it's about to enter into a new phase, which is not yet announced. And the thing that's exciting about it is it's about providing, once again, a critical resource for the entire movement and the entire crypto gaming world. And that's what's going to be so exciting, is that I believe that it functions as a sort of glue in this space, much like NeoTokyo does, but in very different ways. And this is going to be what I think of as the most exciting new chapter that I've had as a founder. And I'm excited to do what I think of as a tremendous service for this space, and solving some of the biggest problems I see in the space, on a community level and and eventually an infrastructure level. And so this is a massive transition for Super. It's not yet announced, so I don't want to go into the details, but I think that there's a lot of people who understand that, it's easy to see new shiny things in a bull run. But when you see teams and you see people that continue to contribute to the space aggressively without changing their tune, in good weather and bad weather, that's when you start to see the excitement and faith in those projects start to explode. And so the super move to me is something that I don't focus on. I don't think about price. I don't talk about price, but I'm super excited about what comes next. And I'm very passionate about this project. NeoTokyo and SuperVerse and Imposters are, of course, where I spend the vast majority of my time.
When are we going to see an Imposters game?
So the game's already being tested, but we have a very exciting new hire that we're going to be announcing here in the very next few days. An absolute killer veteran that's come in to lead the studio to the full mainstream rollout of this game. They are, I believe, a qualified legend in the space. And in my opinion, well, not my opinion, this is their show now, right? They are going to be the ones deciding exactly the timing and cadence of the full Imposters release. But it's something I believe in. One of the things that Imposters solves for, and one of the reasons why it's going to be interesting, is that it's not trying to go after this sort of first-person shooter, immersive type of gaming that people are all competing for. It's going after a strictly social type of gaming that's all about content. And it's one of the most viral game styles. And it's taking kind of a different lane. And there's almost no other games taking this lane, especially in this industry. And so it's what I consider a blue ocean, right? And it's really about creating content from the gameplay that goes viral. And it's about more a play on gaming culture, which I think is the most important thing to focus on, because we have a generation that think they hate NFTs. And that is not the case. These gamers love NFTs. They just haven't played a game that they love with NFTs yet.
Amazing. Elio, listen, it's been absolutely amazing speaking to you. I love it. I think what I'm going to propose is that the next one that we do, we'll bring Hustle and we'll bring Alex Becker, and we'll do one of those real DJing style banter Fridays here, right here on In the Game. So listen, thank you. Much love from the Banter fam. Much love from the In the Game fam. We'll see you again soon, my friend. And keep us updated. We'd love to hear what you're talking about, what you're doing.
Of course.
Cool, my friend. Thank you very much. That's Elio, guys. Wow. What a brilliant way. What a brilliant way to end the week. So just before we go, remember that it is Black Friday, and Black Friday Black Friday weekend. You can say it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. If you want to sign up for NordVPN, you can sign up for NordVPN. You still get the specials. I told you in the beginning of the show why you want to sign up for NordVPN. Here it is. If you click on there, you do get the Black Friday special, which I think is like under $3 a month, and you got to have a VPN surfing. I did say that to you guys before. I will see you guys again on this channel soon. Remember, if you're not subscribed to this channel, quickly, one last time, subscribe, join In the Game, get your gaming alpha. I'll see you guys again soon. Until then, trade well, my friends.